When our client was accused of a DUI car crash on Thanksgiving night, we got the charges dropped. If you want to find out, watch this video and we'll show you how. I'm Adam Rossen with the Rossen Law Firm. We help good people when bad things happen to them so they can achieve their best future. So in today's video, I want to talk about a client of ours, Kendall. She was at Thanksgiving dinner with her family, and afterwards she was going out to meet some friends and go out for the night. And she's driving on I-95 right around Deerfield, and there was tons of construction in this area, and it's just a complete nightmare, this traffic situation. She spun around about 3 times, went through 3 or 4 different lanes of traffic and hit the wall, the barrier wall. Luckily, first and foremost, she's okay and nobody else was hurt. And so 2 passerbys, they're driving by, they call the police and they couldn't identify who it was. They didn't know if it was male or female or anything. They just said, car spun out of control. This was really serious. So the police, Florida Highway Patrol, after about 10-15 minutes, they get there. Now, our client Kendall, she's already outside of the car when they arrive and they approach and they start talking to her and they smell alcohol in her breath. Yeah, she said she had a beer at dinner. They immediately went into overreaction mode, immediately went into, okay, we're gonna do a DUI investigation. So they did that. That area, right, it's dark, there's cars whizzing by, it's windy, it's not ideal conditions. So what they did is they put her in the back of their police car and they took her off 95 to a Wawa gas station. And that's where they did the field sobriety exercises. And of course, they said she did them and did them poorly. Every single report that I've ever read says people do them poorly. They arrested her for DUI and they took her down to the station and they asked her to give a breath test. I lecture at many places on this stuff, and every time I lecture, I have somebody sober do the exercises. Nobody, probably 1,500 people have never, ever passed my field sobriety exercises. First of all, they're supposed to be on video. And in this particular case, Florida Highway Patrol's video malfunctioned. So we didn't even have any of this stuff on video. But what people forget is it's not our job, it's not our burden. It's the prosecutor's burden to put forth the evidence in order to prove that Kendall was guilty of DUI beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. So that actually turned out to be a good thing. Well, we couldn't see her stumbling like they said she was. We couldn't hear her slurring like they said she was. The second thing is, when somebody's in an accident of that magnitude, they're in shock. Her airbags deployed, front and side airbags. That was a serious crash. There's a whole bunch of field sobriety exercises that can be done while being seated for the exact purpose of somebody who has injuries or who's been shaken up from a car crash. Did these officers do them? Of course not. They did not do them. And we had them in deposition saying they knew about them and they chose not to do them. Third great thing is they took her off scene from 95 to a Wawa. Well, Wawa has surveillance video. So they could have got that surveillance video to have shown exactly how she looked and how she performed on the exercises as a backup since their equipment failed. Did they do that? Of course not. And they made a conscious decision to not do it. Now, they took her down to the station and she gave a breath test. She blew over the legal limit. She was at a 0.214. So 2.5 times the legal limit. First of all, these machines are calibrated wrong. It uses a lot of averages with their old software, and it doesn't take into account people's individualistic, body chemistry. What it does is it skews the numbers high. But one of the other important things, especially for Kendall's case, her breath sample was 2.5 hours after the time she was driving. Now, what the prosecutors have to prove is that she was over 0.080 at the time she was driving. But on this case, there was actually more. The biggest glaring issue on this case was that nobody, and I mean nobody involved in this case, could put her behind the wheel of the car. A lot of times, right, this could be considered a legal technicality. Well, you know what? It is. But at the same time, our job is to make sure that the police and the prosecutors prove their cases and uphold the Constitution. All the police had was they arrived, there was a car that was not registered to my client, and they never saw her behind the wheel. So we filed a motion to suppress, saying that this was a completely illegal arrest to begin with. And we filed a bunch of motions on some of the other issues that I talked about as well, and this. And if we won this case on that issue, the entire charges would have been dismissed. The morning of the motion, the prosecutors came to us and basically said, look, we're going to give you an offer you can't refuse. And they reduced the charge, not to a reckless driving, which is a very good result in most cases. They reduced it to a careless driving, which was a traffic ticket. She was over the moon happy. It was the best $150 traffic ticket she ever spent. She was so happy to do that and get that behind her. So this was a fantastic, amazing result that happened for her, and we've helped her achieve her best future. So if you have any questions about any type of legal case in South Florida, just give us a call. This is what we do, this is what we handle. Criminal and DUI defense, 754-206-6200. That's our number, and we'd love to talk and figure out how we can help you out.